Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Taylor Humphreys, and I myself and Malik Harvey will be presenting the eHealth intervention for group number 2. The title of our eHealth intervention is No Stigma, Adolescent eHealth Intervention Method for STI Prevention and Treatment. The reasons this subject should be addressed is because we need to reduce the number of individuals affected, to reduce lifelong complications, to reduce the number of HIV/AIDS related deaths. Proper sex education leads to more favorable views around sexual transmitted infections and testing, and also addressing the efforts being made and renew those methods to educate adolescents further and reduce cases of HIV and AIDS. Some statistics that me and my group found were that 80% of people have human papilloma virus at some point in their lives. Positive asymptomatic cases account for 93% of STI diagnoses, and also 1.1 million people in the United States have been diagnosed with HIV. Some increasing risk factors are unprotected sex, and also risky sex, such as having 2 or more sexual partners. Casual sex or transactional sex increases risk of also contracting an STI. Some consequences if healthier behaviors are not adopted are if sexual active individuals continuously practice risky sex, it could result in super infection, an infection on top of an earlier infection. Also, drug resistant STIs can also develop in the immune system. Also, opportunistic infections in HIV positive individuals is a big concern. It is one of the major causes of mortality in those that have HIV. The primary audience for our intervention are adolescents. Approximately half of STI diagnoses come from adolescents. Only 1/4 of the population is adolescents. Despite recommendations for routine STI screenings, only a small percentage of adolescents receive testing. The secondary audience of our intervention is parents and educators. Studies have shown that a positive mother-daughter relationship can reduce the risk of STIs. Also, high school students reported making more sustainable behavior changes when learning from a school nurse. We chose to focus primarily on adolescents in our e-health intervention because due to the fact that approximately half of the STI diagnoses fall within this demographic, even with recommendations for routine testing, only a small percentage of adolescents are only screened. This is the conceptual framework that our e-health intervention was designed around. Our intervention is a mobile health app called No Stigma. To break it down further, our primary audience is adolescents, with parents and educators being the secondary audience. Within the No Stigma app, we will use a game component, text messaging, and social media in order to deliver information and resources to its users. To break it down even further, subcomponents for each intervention was created and further broken down into our intervention goals. The main goals for our eHealth intervention are to promote regular STI testing, provide knowledge and education about STIs and resources, promote safer sex behaviors, and provide access to social support and other support services. Our main behavioral objectives for our eHealth intervention are practicing safer sex, getting tested regularly or after each new partner, and being able to self-manage their disease.
Hello everyone, my name is Malik Harvey and I will be taking you through our interactive app called No Stigma. On this slide is the homepage of our app where you can access many tools and resources. When you enter the app, you'll be able to use the patient gateway to monitor symptoms, talk to a nurse, schedule appointments and reminders, and look up frequently asked questions. Another feature located on the app is finding the closest STI testing center, Planned Parenthood, and finding online testing services. Making connections amongst peers is an option that can be found on our app as well. Adolescents can join support groups that can further discuss signs, symptoms, getting tested, and more. There are resources and tools for parents and educators that can be used to talk about STIs with their children or groups of adolescents. An educational simulation game titled Pick Your Path allows users to test their knowledge and make good choices for the highest score. The Pick Your Path app puts users in common scenarios that adolescents may experience and allows them to pick what the best and safest action is to get through the scenario. In this scenario, a teen is at a party where there is underage drinking and is questioning what their next steps may be with the person they have been casually dating. Once players have chosen an option, the other choices will be grayed out and the player is allowed to continue in the game. For this scenario, the person has decided to not make the riskier choices and is thinking harder about what it is that will make them feel the most comfortable in this specific scenario. Here we can see how the player's previous responses impacted the next set of questions. The goal for this game is to obtain the highest score by choosing the safest behavior. However, the goal is not to scare adolescents. Instead, we wanted to give them a tool that shows how their riskier actions can impact their health in the future. This is a mock-up of the interactive map that can be found under the Locations tile on the homepage of our app. Users will pull up an interactive map that uses location services to show them the nearest Planned Parenthoods and testing sites in their area. There will also be a link that will send users to external sites that offer at-home STI testing kits that can be shipped to the user in case they do not have transportation to go in person or feel more comfortable taking the test anonymously. Our final takeaways from creating an e-health intervention are: 1. To address the most relevant social determinants of health related to STIs takes a significant amount of time beyond just researching the problem itself. 2. While there is a lot of literature on STI prevention, the challenge was in finding resources that were tailored to our target audience and were age appropriate, engaging, and rooted in evidence based interventions. And finally, there was a large gap in research about how to tailor e health intervention for both adolescents and parents.